Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Backyard Garden Live on Sunday morning with Aislinn and Kai Shin, who's licking himself at this point. I was thinking to myself, I probably should have put a toy in my lap so that he doesn't chew on my hands the entire time we're sitting here talking. So, one of the things I talked about last week a little bit after the garden tour was really wanting to start having conversations about seed starting, seed ordering, and spring planting. Yeah, I know that it seems like, I actually said this to somebody the other day, it's time to start planting my spring seeds. And they were like, wait, what? We haven't even stopped planting our fall seeds, our winter seeds. But the thing about it is that down here in South Texas, we really only have about 8 weeks, maybe 9 or 10, kind of depending on when it really starts, of winter weather and frost situation. And so because of that, we basically just have this short little window of time that it kind of gets a little bit quieter, not massively quieter. I will tell you that I'm not picking a bunch of green beans anymore, and that's part of the slowdown that happens when the first frosts start to hit in, which means that you go over to the easier things to harvest, and yes, you're still planting. The weeding isn't as bad, the mowing isn't as bad, the weed eating, all of the things that we do in the summertime isn't maintaining and sustaining and keeping us so busy. So it does get a little quieter in January, which is kind of nice, but that's a good time of year for us to begin really starting to plan out our spring gardens. Now, if you've been following me all year long, then you'll know that I'm basically saying start your planning for the entire year, really actually in fall. But the thing is that most people and the seed catalogs and the companies, they start in January. And so because of that, we actually have a situation where we get to have kind of 2 planting seasons, 2 ordering seasons. So we don't have to order all of our seeds in December, late December or January. We can order the spring seeds in December, January and start planting them. And then we can order our fall winter seeds in the summertime, July, August, that kind of thing. So today I wanted to talk to you. A lot of the questions that I get pretty regularly are, where do I get my seeds? Where do I get my plants? How do I start them? What's the timing for starting them? All kinds of things like that. You've heard me talk for many weeks about the idea of succession planting. I do succession planting, which means that I am consistently throughout the entire spectrum of time that it is okay to plant, say, lettuce, planting lettuce. Definitely keeping an eye on our weather and how our weather shifts, and beginning as an experienced gardener to understand when I really can start planting lettuce and really when I can end planting lettuce. But generally, when you've got a time frame that says, okay, start planting lettuce in late October, you can continue planting lettuce through January or through mid-February, that kind of thing. So if that's the case, if this is my window, then I plant small bundles, small bundles, small bundles, small bundles, small bundles, all the way through those months so that I can consistently keep replanting. So that if I then harvest out all of my beautiful heads of cabbage or my beautiful heads of broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, any of that kind of stuff, I can then go back in and replant something right behind it. Now, sometimes I might want to try to shift what I'm planting behind it. I might want to try to plant something else. But that's a part of that conversation that we've had with companion planting and really understanding which plants companion well together. That is an essential part of succession planting and an essential part of polycropping, I'm not saying that completely correctly, but as opposed to monocropping, which is all corn, all broccoli, that kind of thing. We're doing a diverse planting. We're growing a kitchen garden. We're growing a very companion type oriented space. And because of that, we then need to understand when we're succession planting, I need to make sure I don't put in something that is opposing to what's coming in this particular space or what's already doing well in this particular space. Also, sometimes we need to be aware of, if the broccoli just grew out of this massive space and took up all the nitrogen in the soil there, because it's a green plant, every bit of it is green until it starts to put on its yellow flowers, then it's sucked up a lot of nitrogen out of that soil. And we want to put in behind that potentially something that doesn't need the nitrogen or even could put nitrogen back into the soil. So those are some things that you need to keep in mind. A way to keep up with that is just to do a search, a very simple Google search. Broccoli, what doesn't companion well with broccoli? Tomatoes, what does or doesn't companion well with tomatoes? That's real simple, and it's lots of things I talk about from week to week, but it's something you can definitely do a simple Google search or even a YouTube search and find out what other people are saying about these types of things. Okay, so if I'm succession planting, I'm consistently planting seeds all year long. I use a process that I like. Basically, I start with, and I used to start here, but then I accidentally ordered these because I'm not, I don't have a background in nursery planting, and so because of that, I don't really know how to order online the size of pots. So I've begun to learn by ordering what are the different perfect pot sizes for me for different things. And I actually learned that this is perfect size for germination. It's also very similar to what would be considered a plug plot. So basically, you could get this same similar situation in a full flat, so it's thin plugs, right? I like this because I think it's easier to manage as long as you have a nice tray to fill these in with. It keeps them all nice and snug. Then this is just one individual as opposed to a plug spot where you have to get in there with some kind of a fork or something like that, and you might actually tear the plugs spot or you might mess the plant's roots up or whatever. This is really simple because I like to plant 2 or 3 in here, and then kind of like this. Then I can just take this really simply, and this one is very easy to get out because I can literally just shake it. I can shake it like that and the whole thing comes out. Okay? I'm going to put that back in there because I'm not quite ready to replant it. That's when I upsize it to something like this. I wish I would have brought one over here like this, but I basically just take this exact same thing like this and set it in a nice mixture of soil. Did you find one that had a 3 in it? Okay, perfect. Thank you, dear. Okay, so what you'll see here is that I literally took this and replanted it in the next size up. And that gives these 3 once, because you'll see, I don't know if you were able to see it when I pulled it out, but the roots had begun to already come through this little spot. And the moment that you see the true leaves, that's the true leaf, okay? This is the baby leaf, this is the true leaf. The moment that you see a tiny bit of true leaf and roots coming at the bottom, you have got to get it up to the next level. You get it up to the next level, now these plants have some opportunity to really grow strong. In addition to that, this is when I begin using my mixture that actually has some fertilizer in it. I use organic fertilizer by Medina. I use some azomite. I put a little bit of azomite in there, and then when I've got Epsom salt, I put a little bit of Epsom salt. Basically what I do is I make myself a big bucket of that with some raised bed potting soil or even just some basic organic potting soil. Mix that up really good, and I fill my pot with that, leave just enough room to place this down inside of that, cover it up nicely, and then I let it grow for another week, just like this. Now, when I get it to this stage, then it is super simple to do the exact same thing. Pop it out. You can see that there's some roots already starting to come through here in the bottom. I can very easily pop it out. Now, here's the thing that I've been talking about with someone recently. Here's the deal. This particular plant is not basketed, which means it doesn't have a lot of heavy root growth tying it all up. But I do need to separate these, and it's okay to separate plants. They're not as ginger as you might think that they are. So basically what you do is you just very gently let it all come apart and very simply pull these plants apart. Now, I don't really want to pull this one apart because I don't have any soil to put it down into. And as soon as you get these guys pulled apart and their roots bare, and you then take them to put them into the next size up, which would be this. This is going to be filled with the exact same mixture that I mentioned before. It's the azomite, the Epsom salt, the fertilizer in a potting mix or a raised bed potting mix. Now I can do individuals in this size pot, right? Okay, so here I've got one of these in this, and I give it some time to grow. And then I can take this whole entire pot and directly plant it into wherever I want, whether that's a large-scale market garden that has a hole that needs a new plant in it, or whether that's my small kitchen garden that has a hole and needs a plant in it. And in addition to not only taking my plants out healthy and happy from the seeds that I grew, and seeds that were way less expensive, I could have bought this one plant from a nursery for probably more than I bought the entire package of seeds for it, because of the soil, because of the pot, because of the growth, all of those types of things. That now I also have created everything that plant needs to be healthy and survive while it's young, as it begins to stretch its roots out and reach out for other things that I've done for it in my gardens to give it the health that it needs. And that's kind of my seed starting process, and that's how I keep that succession part of planting growing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about seeds. I actually made a list of the companies that I use, because this is another question that I get asked really regularly. Okay, online, the companies that I order from, at the very top of the list, Johnny's Select Seeds. I've been very, very happy with them. Now, part of that is because they sell to farmers. They sell to small-scale farmers. I do use hybrid mixes because I think in our South Texas weather, hybriding is extremely important. The one thing that I am aware of is, are they open pollinated or not? Are they genetically modified or not? You don't have that issue with Johnny's. But those are things you need to pay attention to. Hybriding is not a problem. The best way to explain hybriding is when a mom from one family and a dad from one family come together and make a baby. That's a hybrid. That's what that is. It's no big deal. That's just us taking the best qualities and the best qualities from this plant for a particular region that needs plants that don't bolt early, that don't deal with pests as easily, those kinds of things. It's basically strengthening the power of this particular plant and making a new hybrid version that fits well with your particular area. Now, heirlooms are fantastic, and we'll get back to that. I want to talk about heirlooms in just a minute. But I do order organic from them. I order hybrid from them. I am not as particular, as long as it's not a genetically modified seed, I am not as particular about pure seed heirloom organic, because I do so much work on my soil and my land and the way that I grow things, that those things aren't as important to me. What's most important to me is I have good, strong, healthy plants that are going to do well in my region. Okay, and that's the most important part of that. So Johnny's Select Seeds is fantastic. Sustainable Seed Company, I've always been happy with my progress from them. Everything that I'm getting from them has been really good. Also, Seed Savers Exchange, that's another one. These are all online. You can get a catalog, or you can just look at their stuff online. I like to get the catalogs in the mail. I don't want you to go over there because I don't want you to eat something that's going to make you sick, which we already did this week once. Yay. That was an emergency room visit for a hot second. Okay, so one of the things I've learned about these particular companies is that I can order their catalog. I can look through all the pretty pictures. You see I've got all the different catalogs here. High Mowing, Seven Springs, a natural gardening company I haven't ordered from before, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. These are great to look through so that I can see the photos, so that I can read, so that I can just spend some of my time in those very cold, miserable days that I don't want to be outside looking through the seed catalogs. But then I go online and do my ordering online, because that is way easier than trying to order through a catalog like the old days, right? Okay. So Southern Seed Exchange is one of my favorites. They are, I believe they're actually in Alabama. Either way, they're in the southern part of the country, which is very similar and matching to us in a lot of ways. So their seeds actually fit our climate a little bit better, so I really like their stuff. I also like High Mowing. High Mowing has been very supportive of organic companies, organic local businesses, nonprofits, and things like that. So I'm very supportive of ordering from them. In addition to that, I was very happy with some seeds that I was given by Osborne this year. They gave these seeds out to me, I guess, in 2019. And because of that, I planted their seeds, and I'm happy, and it's likely that I'll order some more of their seeds from them as well. Territorial Seed Company is a company that we also used over at the Learning Garden a lot, and I do like them as well. I've got a lot of happy seeds from them too. Okay, let's talk about something that could potentially be sparking some triggers for some folks. I have almost gotten to the point where I have stopped ordering seeds from Baker Creek Heirloom. This last year I did order some things from them, and I was very, very unhappy. I'm repeatedly unhappy with the vitality of the seeds that Baker Creek Heirloom is doing. I know that they are the one that is trending. They are the one that gets all the attention. They are the one that gets everyone knows Baker Creek Heirloom, right? But the thing about it is that over the years, their vitality rate has gone down. Now, I don't know what's going on. I'm not involved in that. It doesn't matter to me. In addition to that, I've seen some questionable educational things recently. And so I am probably not going to do much ordering from Baker Creek Heirloom. I might look at their catalogs and really dig into seeing if they've got anything absolutely new and spectacular that I might want to try out. But that being said, I just am not happy with the way their company has grown. And I have been very, very supportive and ordered lots of seeds from them over the year. So that's just something to keep in mind, as I know that that's a name that a lot of folks know is that company. It's actually something to consider for yourself. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the seeds you can buy in the local box stores or even in the local nurseries. There are 3 different varieties that I really like and I'm willing to buy from the local nurseries off their seed stock, and also from the box stores. They usually have these as well. Renee's Garden. Those are all very, very nice. One thing I will advise is try to stay away from the mix, because a lot of times when you have a mix of carrots or a mix of radishes, it seems like it's a fun idea for small scale gardening, but the fact of the matter is they all have different maturity dates. And because they have different maturity dates, you've got some that come up and germinate well, some that don't. You don't know when to harvest, this and that. You just don't get as good of a across the board when you have a mixture package. So instead, buy 3 seed packages of the varieties you want to mix and mix it up. Not mix it up. And then you'll have your own mix, and then you'll be able to plant them in a way that you can have those 3 varieties of particular seeds. The other thing you can do is share those at seed swaps. If it's too much for you to have one whole package times 3, then divide it up, open the package, divide it up, and host a little seed swap or join a seed swap. I'm certain to be doing one in the very near future. Okay, botanical interest. This is a pretty basic one that you probably all have seen. I like a lot of the stuff that they do, a lot of their organics. I also use some of their hybrids as well. And of course, when you're going to our local nurseries, 85–90% of the time, the seeds that you purchase from them, they know that they're going to be doing well in our particular area. And so that's a good thing to know when you're talking about the local nurseries. Now, when you're talking about the box stores, they've got all the seeds. So it doesn't, they're not going to put something in your particular, in their particular nursery that's only for our region. Now, why they don't do that, I don't know, but it's because across the board, they're sending out the same thing to every store, no matter where it is in the country. And because of that, the seeds that they are carrying not necessarily are the ones that do well in our particular client. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, here's a good one that I was really impressed and have been very happy with. It's like, I believe it's called the American Seed Co. American Seed Company. You can find these at the dollar store. You can find them at Walmart. You can find them at the big box stores. All of those big box stores, they are very, very good. They've got a good variety of some heirlooms. The seed packages are only $1. They're pretty nice and full of seeds. And so that's a place where you can get some really affordable, good seeds. And of course, they're American. I love that. All right. So let's talk about trees and transplants. I have ordered online trees from Gurney's, Gurney. I like them a lot. I've been very happy with the progress that I've gotten from them as well. So that's something to keep in mind for online. And yes, you can order trees over the mail. They come in bare rooted, and you just got to get them in a pot right away as soon as you get them. That's something to keep in mind. They're very young, so they're affordable. And I believe this time of year, you can actually get 50% off from Gurney's if you order right now. So take a look and look into that. Okay, let's talk about transplants. And let's go back to the conversation about heirlooms again. Now, one of the things that's really important about heirloom varieties is you gotta understand the heirloom varieties that match your area. Because just because they are an heirloom or a native seed doesn't mean they're heirloom and native to your area. The reason hybriding began happening is because they were trying to take an heirloom seed and make it fit the different pathogens, pests, different things that you're dealing with in your climate. So Texas A&M University has done a lot of hybriding for the Texas area to make sure that we have seeds that match our particular farmers, our region, our needs, right? So it's the same thing. When you're looking for an heirloom seed, you need to get in touch with any local growers in your area, specifically when we're talking about things that deal with lots of pathogens like squash and tomatoes and peppers. All of those, you want to grow the heirloom varieties that do well in our region. And so that's something to really consider and talk about. That's something to really think about when you're choosing the heirloom varieties. And it's something that we as growers are getting deeper into understanding so that I can make sure and share with you, okay, these are the heirloom varieties that we want to go with. I can tell you now I've got 4 heirloom varieties that I definitely think you should be growing. No, actually 5 that I definitely think you should be growing in this area. The big red cherry, it always does in our area. That is an heirloom tomato. You can do that one. Romas. Romas have their good days and their bad days, but they generally do pretty good. The Cherokee purple tomato does fantastically in our area. Very, very, very well. You should definitely go for that one. I like the black creme. It's very similar to the Cherokee purple. It's also that purple savory variety. That's a good one as well. The black cherry, which is a little tiny purple cherry tomato. That one is a fantastic one that grows really well in our area as well. And then the very last one that I know for sure is an heirloom variety that does well in our area, and my favorite people that grow that one is the Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. That is the Amish paste tomato, and that one grows really well in our area. I also have heard from Justin Butts over in the Rockport area that the green zebra tomato does well, an heirloom that does well. Now, I haven't had a lot of luck with that one here on the Bay Area in Corpus Christi with the clay soil. He has a little bit of a different climate with sand and stuff like that. So I will give it a try out at the farm and see if I can get it to be a little bit more successful out there, and I will tune in and let you guys know on that on another day. So that's something to keep in mind when you're purchasing, whether it's heirloom transplants, heirloom seeds, it doesn't really matter. What you need to do is become aware of which heirlooms are being grown in your particular area, okay? Now, the best answer to transplants is start your own seeds. It's the most affordable. It means that your plant's going to be adapted to your particular climate because it grew from seed all the way up. That's going to be your best bet. Grow your own transplants, okay? But if you can't, here's some other options. My friend Leo Ruiz has begun a pop-up mobile nursery called Get Growing. He's got a lot of great stuff. He's got lots of vegetable plants right now that he is looking to offload before we get through this particular part of the season and into the next part of the season. So go check out what Leo has. Turner's, of course, Gills. Now, the last thing I want to tell you about transplants is that I do not buy my transplants or trees from the box stores. There's just too many times that I have had nothing but failure with the stuff that I buy from those stores because they're not climatized, they're not prepared for our pathogens, they're not prepared for our pests. They have not had any, they're just not healthy here. And they're selling us varieties of things that shouldn't be grown in the Zone 9B area of South Texas. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Go to your local nurseries, plant your own. Those are the types of things we're looking for to have the most success, especially when we're talking about a small scale kitchen garden that can be very, very affordable. Okay, did you have a question, a thought about something?
I was just going to say, it's like when you walk into the big box clothes store, and they've sent jackets all over the country, but it's 90 degrees here,
Right.
but the store is filled with jackets. They don't regionalize those things.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorites always was when Cortland was turning 5. Cortland was born in September. I couldn't find a swing set for him at any of the stores. Why couldn't I find a swing set for him? Now, granted, this was 20 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever, so they may have shifted this a little bit, but I couldn't find a swing set in September. Why? Because who's swinging in September? It's cold outside. No, what are y'all talking about? It's crazy. So anyways, yes, that's exactly the way it works. Okay, let's shift real quick over to a few things I want to talk to you guys about. January 2nd is going to be that free masterclass that I'm hosting called Intuitive Gardening. That's an online, hour-long, sit down with me, ask me questions. Let's get ready for the new year and let's talk about what is intuitive gardening, which will then lead into a 6-week master class, the mastermind class that will be all about intuitive gardening and how I garden the It's Just Aislinn way. Okay, then on January 9th, I kick off my Hands in the Dirt Learning Garden Membership Workshop, monthly workshops. So it'll be monthly workshops, it'll be a special group that is designed for us to answer and ask questions, it'll be Q&As, it'll be some special workbooks and some workbook activities and things like that for you to do. So January 9th will be the first workshop with me, and I will begin launching that in January. And then in February, I will launch another great thing I'm looking forward to called From the Garden to the Kitchen. This is a cooking demo type of class. We will be cooking together out on the farm. We will be using the seasonal product. We will talk about how we grow those seasonal things and then what we do after we grow them. How do we cook them? How do we preserve them? All kinds of things like that. So 2 memberships coming up for you in 2020, and a 6-week masterclass is already on my agenda and my context for helping you grow abundantly and sharing all the magic I've learned with you. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Don't forget to tune in to Dinner Table Talks. It launches tomorrow morning. Love you. Have a beautiful week. Oh, by the way, for those of you that care much about growth and alignment and manifestation and all of those great things, tomorrow, the 21st, is a massive magical day. So make sure you get out your journals and start writing all the things you want for 2021. Have a great week. I'll see you soon. Love you.